everyone. So today I'll be talking about the goal or skill that I've mastered this quarter, which is writing short poems or poetry, mainly focusing on haikus. So in the previous quarters, we had a quick run through or pass by the different types of poetries. And in this quarter, I've decided to try practicing a skill of writing short poems or poetry, such as couplets, quatrains, and haikus, and at the same time try implementing some of the lessons that we had to learn this quarter as well, such as the different vocabulary terms, vocabulary words, literary devices, as well as rhetorical devices. In this video, I'll be talking about how I start creating poems, short poems, as well as how I try to implement some of the things that I learned this quarter. I'm going to be talking about how I get my inspirations, what are some of the short poetries I wrote, as well as how I try to practice the lessons that I've learned this quarter through writing short poems. So first and foremost, I get my inspiration from many things, mainly the things that I see around me. Take, for example, paintings, plants, the sky, etc. But sometimes, instead of getting inspiration from the things that are surrounding me, I like to take inspirations from Google or searching up ideas from different other people, or generally just looking for things that may not be around me that could actually inspire me. As I've said earlier, I enjoyed writing short poetry such as couplets, quatrains, and haikus. But this quarter, I mainly focused on haikus. And haikus are basically Japanese poetry or poems that has a limit of 17 syllables and 3 lines. So the first line basically has a limit of 5 syllables, the second line has a limit of 7 syllables, and the third line has a limit of 5 syllables as well. Couplets are basically stanzas or a short poetry which includes 2 lines only. And quatrains are basically stanzas or also a short poetry that contains a limit of 4 lines. So how do I apply the lessons that I've learned this quarter to my skill, which is writing short poetry? So one of the things that I did was in our weekly 5 goals, which includes learning about new vocabulary word lessons, I like to try practicing those vocabulary words on short poetry such as haikus. So I tried creating haikus with those vocabulary words in order to master them, but at the same time practice my skill in writing short poems, which I do equally enjoy. Since I could be very creative with the types of poems I write, I try to implement literary devices such as metaphor, simile, to make the short poems more interesting, as well as I also like to include some rhetorical devices, take for example repetition, that will just make the poem, just to give some color towards the short poems that I create. So to sum up, I basically mastered the skill of writing short poetry or poems this quarter, and at the same time I was able to apply the lessons that we had to learn this quarter towards in my poetry and practice them. So I am quite proud and happy about this skill, as it is something I do enjoy. And it is also something that helped me further understand the lessons or the topics that I had to learn online this quarter. So that is all, and goodbye.